We're back on SportsCenter. The fallout from Memphis' Game 2 victory continues. The league announced today that Dillon Brooks would be suspended for Saturday's Game 3 after his flagrant foul led to Gary Payton II's elbow fracture, an injury that'll keep him out for at least a month. I have found myself sandwiched between the Kins, Kendra Andrews and Kendrick Perkins, and we're going to start with Kendra Andrews, who covers the Warriors and joins us now from San Francisco. Kendra, Payton started games 1 and 2, and he defended Ja Morant, and he did so well. How is Golden State going to look to replace his production?
Well, Elle, first and foremost, the Warriors say that defending Ja is not an individual task, right? It has to be a team effort, but of course, without Gary Payton, it does become a more difficult team effort. Now, the Warriors can look to Andrew Wiggins to take on some of that defensive assignment, especially in the starting lineup. Of course, as you mentioned, Gary also started, so they will have to fill in someone else there, but they can look to Andrew Wiggins. Jonathan Kuminga is a guy who's going to get more minutes coming off of the bench. He's the only guy that kind of matches Ja's athleticism, but Jonathan is a rookie. He is more foul prone. Steve Kerr also said that Damian Lee is a guy who's going to see increased playing time. Now, the Warriors were really hoping that Andre Iguodala would be able to return for Game 3, but he's going to be out for at least another week with that neck injury, so they're going to have to look for other guys, other veteran players to help defend Ja.
And again, Kendrick, you talk about defending Ja, specifically for Gary Payton Jr. 3 for 8 was Ja, shooting just 38% when he was his primary defender. But I still have to cage that by saying Ja has still been eating. I mean, he's coming off of a 47-point performance. Do you think that's sustainable, though, throughout the series?
Absolutely. And look, when I came out and told people before the season that this kid is Jordan-ness, okay? He is relentless. He don't care who he's playing against. And without Gary Payton II, look, I don't know what the Warriors are going to do. They might try to send a trap, but anytime that Ja Morant sees Clay or Steph in front of him, he sees food. Look at what he's doing to Jordan Poole. Got him doing the stanky leg right there. You know, he is a problem, and they can't keep him out of the paint. And the problem that with guarding him one-on-one or trying to send a double team is that he has others around him that are capable of knocking down shots and finishing at the basket. So it's almost like pick your poison. Whether I want to take my chances on guarding Ja one-on-one, giving him the three-point shot, which he's knocking down right now, and letting him go for 40 and taking away the others. But at the end of the day, it's no answer for Ja Morant, G12. No one can stop him.
See, the thing that you do so well, Kendrick, is that you drop a cultural reference, and despite all this great stuff that was coming out of your mouth, all I'm doing now is going, if you wildin', do the stanky leg. So appreciate that. Kendrick Perkins, Kendra Andrews joining us to talk about the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Appreciate you guys.
That's how the NBA described the play that Dillon Brooks started and ended with a broken elbow for Gary Payton II. He's been suspended for Game 3 of their Western Conference semifinal series, Saturday night on ABC. Series, as you know, tied 1 apiece. Steve Kerr was livid after Game 2 at what Brooks did, and then had little to add when addressing the suspension earlier today.
Yeah, it's ultimately it's the league's decision, and so it's out of my hands. He's going to be out for a long time, and he's crushed. He's six years toiling away in the league, as I said the other night, in the spotlight, playing in the playoffs, playing a huge role, playing well. That's all been taken away from him. So it's we all feel terrible for Gary. He deserves better.
Shout out to the gold-blooded T-shirt. I like that alliteration. Now, this is why this is important. Brooks has had the most success of any Grizzly checking Steph Curry. I mean, you can't understate this. Brooks has held Curry to just 3 of 15 shooting as the closest defender on him this season, while all other Memphis defenders combined to hold him to a still somewhat respectable 47% shooting. A reminder, Game 3 of that semi, a little short-handed for the Dubs against John Company, Saturday night on ABC. The day gets started earlier on ABC with Game 3.
Steven Adams will be available Saturday after clearing the NBA's health and safety protocol. Rough news for Philadelphia. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that while Joel Embiid is currently being listed as out for Friday's Game 3 against the Heat, still progress that could be made to change his availability. They got to have him. Despite not having Embiid being down 2 games to none, Doc Rivers still optimistic as the series shifts back to Philadelphia. Sixers down 0-2.
I mean, I would rather not be down 0-2, but should I feel bad? I mean, we lost 2 games. Our guys, you watched that film last night, we played hard. Our guys competed. And anybody has a problem with that, then there's something wrong with them. We got great shots. Since there's a lot of analytical people out there in the world, it was our 12th best shots of the year, which means we didn't make shots, but we got great shots. And the game, when you look at it, came down to the three-point line in a lot of ways. They made theirs, we missed ours. So I think we believe in our players.
So with or without Joel Embiid, Sixers will take on the Heat at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Then out to Dallas, tries to get on the board against Phoenix in Game 3. SportsCenter with us to follow. So this off night in the NBA just gives us a chance to bring Tim Legler in and take the temperature of the room here. We've seen a couple of games in all of these series. And Tim, I'm curious, what's something that you really believed heading into the conference semis that based on what you've seen now, you're even more convinced is true?
Scott, I think it would have to be that one great individual player, which Luka Doncic clearly is. I mean, that might not even be doing him justice, how good he is, can't beat a great team. And it's actually got me concerned now watching him operate and playing as well as he is offensively, but being handled the way that they are by the Phoenix Suns. I'm actually concerned going forward, Scott, not just in this series or this season. Any dribble-dominant offense to this extent by one player, no matter how good they are, just can't beat great teams. And that's exactly what the Dallas Mavericks are up against. So I was worried about that for Luka and the Mavericks going in, and I'm more convinced than ever, particularly the way that Phoenix has put together some of these runs on them in the second half.
On the other hand, I think this can be difficult. You've got an opinion. You've seen enough things to make you believe that opinion. But I think the smartest people are nimble and say, well, hold on a second. Maybe that's not quite what I thought it was. Is there some storyline that you thought, yeah, this is what it is, and now you're going, I'm not sure?
Well, I'm looking at Golden State Memphis, and I picked the Warriors to win this series. I picked the Warriors to get all the way to the NBA Finals, and I'm not going to run away from that. I mean, it's a 1-1 series. They got the split. But one thing I did think would happen that played into that thinking is Golden State's small lineups doing a better job on Ja Morant. When he comes to that jump stop in the paint, he takes off. All right, he's bouncing and going up. They're grounded with their help defense. There's nobody on the floor that's going vertical with him to bother him. So he's in such an incredible space mentally, knowing he can get off whatever he wants to in the lane, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. The question for Golden State is, can you keep him from taking over the game entirely late? That's what we have to see going forward. So I think Golden State's still in good shape, but Ja Morant is going to have a huge series, and I thought Golden State would be better on him defensively.
Our friends at TNT can put their feet up and watch us work on Friday night. We get some games, and SportsCenter will follow at the end of it. I'm interested in what you're interested in Friday night. The storyline, the game, the thing to keep an eye on that's most interesting to you.
Well, I'm going to touch quickly on each because there's 2 games. First, obviously, for the Sixers, is Joel Embiid going to play?
Right.
Is he going to play with force? Is he going to be limited in any way? And then Dallas, I want to see if they're going to punch back. They got punked at the end of that game. There's no other way to put it. They were mocked. They were going at them. They were holding follow-throughs on three-point shots for an extended period of time. I just want to see Dallas fight, and I'm going to know early in that game what their mentality is because Phoenix embarrassed them the other night in the last 6 minutes of that game.
Yeah, and just a quick follow, man. Look, Luke is awesome on offense. Phoenix hunted him on defense, and they got him, and they just worked him. I just wonder what kind of fight back we're going to see on that end from him.
Well, there is nothing more humiliating or deflating to a team than when your best player is being served up on a platter the way that he was at the end of that game. And it's going to be difficult for him if they want to keep switching, and that's why I think Jason Kidd might have to make an adjustment. If they're going to hunt Luka out, then you're going to have to protect him a little bit because he's not capable of guarding those guys in one-on-one situations. Get the ball out of those guys' hands, and now let's see if Phoenix can make 15 threes and beat you that way because they keep switching this and allowing Luka to be targeted. It's so demoralizing to your team to have your best player slayed like that on the defensive end of the floor, no matter what he's doing on the other end.
Yeah, and you know what I appreciate, Tim? Sometimes a coach can try to be too cute or too clever. Monty Williams and the Suns are like, just do it again. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, why run anything else? Just switch it, hunt him, and try to score him. And they did. You just don't have to be too clever,
and
man.
They did it with smirks on their face, and that's the part I'm talking about. That should bother Dallas when they watch that film. They should be upset about that.
Well, Luka smirks plenty at everybody, man. So you do it enough, and you're going to get some back. You know how the league works, Tim, better than I do. All right, man. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you soon.